Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech number 244, doing the top 10 board games of 2015. I recently attended Sasquatch and BGG Con. Basically, went to two different conventions at 5 days apiece of playing board games 24 hours a day. And after all of that playtesting, I have some strong opinions on the best games of this year that I want to share with you. Sasquatch did this great rating system for everybody who was there. Anybody who played games could go through and rate those games. My list is going to be rather different than this list, though, for two reasons. Number one, I'm only going to cover games that I actually played. And number two, I am a hardcore Euro player. I hate dice, I hate randomness, I love lots of strategy in games, and I prefer games to be longer. There are two party games that made it onto my list, but overall you're going to see some heavier strategy games out of me. Although Sasquatch for board game festivals does definitely lean towards the heavier side of gaming. Before I jump in though, I want to talk a little bit about the community. There's a wonderful board game community out there. This convention, Board Game Geek Con, and Sasquatch were just opportunities to play giant amounts of games, meet people, and have a lot of fun. It's so different from kind of the Gen Con super busy dealer hall and your PAX Line Con that I just can't believe there's not something like this in the Magic community. Some type of a casual Commander Con out there where people can just get together, thousands of them at a time, and play games with each other. It's great. BGG has this wonderful aspect where you can just put up this flag looking for someone to teach you how to play a particular game, and individuals just show up. Some of them are volunteers of the convention, others are just people who have played the game earlier that are willing to explain it to you. It's super easy to get a pickup game, and everybody that you talk to there is really friendly. I had a wonderful time. MaggyBot introduced me to a lot of people in the community. Zen was one of the coolest people that I met there. He's a gamer out of Japan. He stopped by Seattle. We played some games with him before going out to BGG, and then I got a few games out at BGG with him. NPC Chris is somebody who I know from the Card Kingdom community, does some video work there, but I hadn't really gamed with. It was very nice to get some games in with him. Suze is someone I play with in the Seattle area that was down there and was just always inviting, offering spots in game groups, including people into games. Wonderful to game with her. GameWire Warrior, just really nice. Bebo was very, very friendly all weekend. And then Undead Viking is somebody I hadn't known going in. I'd seen a few of his videos. Very nice guy. Was willing to teach games and had a lot of fun just chatting with him. If you're interested in board games, I would definitely check out his YouTube channel. He's got some great stuff over there. Let's jump in. Honorable mentions here. I've got several of them. There are so many games that come out this time of year. We're looking at a few hundred, and I had to cut this list down to 10. Well, I actually added an 11th. But in the honorable mentions, I've got Ponzi Scheme, which looks wonderful, but I didn't actually get a chance to play it, and I can't review anything that I didn't play. I really want to play it, and hopefully we'll play and review it soon. Royal Goods is a lighter game that I played at the end of the convention. Suze taught it. Wonderful little tableau builder, a little bit of economic engine. Had a lot of fun with it for a quick lighter game. Lots of people talked about Time Stories to me and tried to convince me to play it, even though I knew it really wasn't my style. It's this immersive mystery-solving game with multiple time loops through the same event, trying to figure out what's going on. It looks very interesting. I may give it a try, but didn't make the list because I didn't review it. 504, I learned the rules for, started to play a game, and then some people got called away. It's a really weird game in that you choose a bunch of mechanics and then it builds the game. I'm a huge fan of second playthroughs of games where you kind of know how everything flows and you're kind of diving in deeper. 504 is full of a lot of different first playthroughs of different weird games. Just not my style, but really cool concept. And My Village almost made this list. It's just a little bit lighter than I like. It's a dice drafter. The strategy is not as deep as some of the things that I'm going to talk about in this list, but it was a lot of fun. People I played with out at Sasquatch were very nice. I would recommend it if you're looking for something a little bit shorter and a little bit lighter. Number 11 spot here, I've got Mombasa. I've got 2 plays of it in at this point. It's got a modular board that allows you to rearrange pieces of the board to change the valuation of each of the tracks that you're competing for stock on and the companies that you're trying to use to gain area control over Africa. It's very, very interesting. I like the card drafting aspects of it. You had 2 different individual player tracks, one for diamonds and the other one for exploration, these journals that you're doing. It looks like there's multiple strategies and a pretty good amount of player interaction. I look forward to playing it a few more times. I don't know how balanced each of those tracks are. There might be tracks that are just simply better, but the modular nature of the game may mitigate that. I look forward to playing this several more times. The number 10 spot here, I've got Austrian Hotel. This is a dice drafter. This is the year of the dice drafters. Apparently there were lots of dice drafting games. Great mechanics, really cool cards, wonderful individual tableau that you're kind of building up, putting in a bunch of guests that you've met their needs and you've leased them rooms for the night. The dice are mitigated by a reroll factor. The only problem with this game is that there's a huge amount of turn downtime if you're drafting first, because it has this kind of reverse snake draft where player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4 then drafts twice, player 3 drafts again, player 2 drafts again, then player 1. If you're player 1, you can kind of take a nap in between turns. It says it plays at 4 players, but unless everybody knows the cards inside and out, it's way too long. I would cut it down to a 2-player or a 3-player and have a lot of fun with this game. The number 9 spot here, I've got Blood Rage, which is really an Ameritrash area control drafting game with the coolest frickin' minis. You're trying to take over territory and get favor of the gods because Ragnarok is coming. The cards are a bit swingy. They have a lot of flavor. You've got these Loki cards that just steal victory points from other people. You have these Thor cards that are very aggressive. It's a wonderful, quick little game. Not that long. It plays through 3 rounds of drafting. You really need to go after other people actively. If you just let somebody solitaire it in the corner, they're going to walk away with huge amounts of points. I liked the player interaction in this game, and it was a lot of fun. I would play it if other people wanted to play it. It is a little bit on the lighter side because of how swingy the cards are, but the cards aren't everything. You can definitely build a strategy around the cards that you are able to draft. The number 8 spot here, I've got Granja. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. This is a wonderful mismatch game of several different mechanics that actually work really well together. It's got this area control from Luna. It's got cards in it. It's got some dice drafting. The cards are multi-use, so they can turn into contracts or special powers or fields or upgrades to your farm. There's a lot going on with this game. I really like it. The cards are a bit on the heavy, powerful side for a few of them, especially in the beginning of the game. I would add a drafting aspect to kind of balance that out. Now, some people are going to say, hey, Brian, this came out last year. You're behind by a year. Well, the distribution, I believe, moved over to Stronghold. I didn't play it till this year, and it got a lot more traction in the States this year. It was part of the Board Game League out at Card Kingdom. Several other stores in the Northwest have been playing this in a competitive fashion. Really cool first choice for their launching of that, or relaunching of that Board Game League. Very happy to see it out there. I really consider it kind of a 2015 game. Number 7 spot, I've got Signori. This is one where the theme really did nothing for me. The idea that you're trying to marry off members of your family and get some better position in royal families. But when I got into the game, it's this dice drafter with multiple different strategies that clearly work. It also has a nice competitive aspect to it, both in area control as you're trying to get to particular spots on the board, and the drafting portion allows you to spite other people's actions pretty hard. I liked the amount of player interaction. This was not a solitaire game. There was a lot going on with it. I look forward to playing it several more times. Number 6 spot here, I've got Mysterium. This is another one that some people would say came out last year or earlier in this previous format. It's really been reskinned, minor rules changed when it came here to the States. It is a wonderful, lighter party game where you are collaboratively playing Clue to try to solve a mystery with art cards. and these hint cards, which are more pieces of art coming from this ghost. The artwork is really cool. The gameplay is great. The US version added a timer. No clue why that's in there. I just threw it out of the box. Otherwise, though, it has this great aspect of learning about the people you're playing with. I recommend playing it with people that you know pretty well, so you can clue off of the types of interactions you've had in the past with them to try to read what they're seeing in the artwork. Very fun game, especially for a lighter party game. In the number 5 spot here, I've got Shakespeare. This is one where the art made it look super light to me. When I finally got it on the table at BGG, I realized there was a lot more going on with this game. It has multiple different paths to victory. You have a card drafting aspect and a turn order aspect that matter a lot. You're creating your own tableau and then racing against people in 3 different areas on this feathered track that's communal. It is on the lighter side. It was a lot of fun, though. I look forward to playing it a few more times. It's probably got about 5 or 6 plays for me until I figure out whether there is an optimal strategy or whether it really depends on how well you read the cards and how well you read what your opponent's strategies are. The number 4 spot here, I've got one of the heaviest games on this list. This is a monster. This is a Splotter game. It's Food Chain Magnet, super heavy, lots of stuff going on. Player elimination is definitely part of the game. You can get so far behind in your economic engine that you just have no chance. But it's got a really cool kind of tech tree where you build up your people and train them and get them to cool positions. It also has these achievements that you jet forward to be the first one to get to give you long-term bonuses throughout the whole game. There's clearly multiple different paths that you can go after. There's an area control aspect in where you place your stores and then where you advertise to. If you advertise and somebody puts a store in that area, they're actually going to be meeting that demand. It has this wonderful aspect that Splotter games do where actions you take can end up being very beneficial to other players, and you have to manage this communal board together in order to try to make your stuff work, and other people can free ride off of that. I really like the design of Splotter games. Splotter doesn't do a lot of games. I really like Food Chain Magnet. I look forward to playing it several more times. Delluvia Project, another great game. It is one that lists 2 to 4 players, but it's really a 4-player game. It has an area control aspect that is so much more fun at 4 players, and it has an action selection aspect that is downright boring at 2 players, but wonderful at 4 players. This game has nothing to do with clouds. Don't even know why they set it in the clouds. Very pretty. It's a civilization builder. You're creating this city that has these minor upgrades as you move forward. Where you take actions and which action you take matter a lot. You can lock people out of the actions that they really need or make them pay more for it. It's very interactive, a lot of opportunities back and forth to have these small skirmishes with people over turn order or their needed actions. Great game in Delluvia Project. Number 2 spot here, I've got Nghiep. Nghiep is a economic engine builder game with an area control aspect for most of the victory points. It has drafting of actions also. You draft these meeples, you try to get them all to be the same color. You pay more for each additional color of meeple that you draft. I really like this game. This is the one that I played the most on the list. Every time I go back and play it, I try a different strategy. I see other people try different strategies. And that replayability and multiple winning strategies is very important to me in a game. I look forward to playing this at least 3 or 4 more times in the coming year, which will probably get me up to about 9 or 10 plays of it, which is a lot of plays for me of a strategy game. It's best to play with people who are on their 2nd or 3rd playthrough. Some of the concepts are a little bit tougher to get on your first playthrough. When to evaluate actions. There is no come from behind mechanism. When somebody gets behind, it's going to be really rough for them. So getting people to that same level of skill and then battling it out on a 2nd or 3rd playthrough is where this game really shines. The number 1 spot here, I've got the Gallerist. An incredible game. This is by the same guy that did Kanban, one of my absolute favorite games of all time. This is a tight game about buying, selling, and promoting art. The actions in it are really, really interesting. Every time you take an action, you're able to get kicked out of that action and take it again. So there's some long-term planning to it. Artists that you're invested in, other people invest in. So there's this communal nature with some free writing going on. You're competing directly for patrons into your galleries. There's some opportunities to spite people out of patrons. There is also this kind of control aspect to these international auctions that are going on where you're trying to get the most assistance over to those areas. And then you get to promote art, but other people can then buy into that art. You can only buy one piece of art at a time, and each artist has at least 2 pieces of art available. There's a long-term strategy planning to these hidden objective cards, and there's an endgame draft for a significant amount of points based on what you did in the auction. There's so many little moving parts in this game that it's been really enjoyable to play multiple times. I've played this 4 times at this point. 2 of those games were games with people who had already played it once, so we got into some of the more strategy of the game. This is a game that probably has 15-20 plays in it, which is saying a lot for a strategy game. Maybe even more. I am super happy with this game and definitely recommend that anybody who likes heavier strategy games should check out the gallerist, give it a few plays, especially with that group who have all played it once or twice, because it can be very contentious over which actions people take and the area control in the international auction. Wonderful game. Vital Lacerta, the creator, has just outdone himself with a great game again. Top game of 2015, the gallerist. I'd like to close on something a little more fun here. Codenames, which is a wonderful party game that I highly recommend, came out this last year, and I didn't even know where exactly to put it on the list, so I'm giving it this honorable mention spot at the end of the list. Normally you've got individual words that you're trying to clue people to, but I'm doing a little bit different thing here. I'm trying to clue people to a few different board games. I'm going to say a number, and you try to guess which board games I am talking about for the particular word that is clued with that number. And I'm going to say spiteful 4. If you think that there's a single word that captures several of these different board games, put it into the comments. If you'd like to see more board game content, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you to everybody who's over there on Patreon helping make this channel possible. I greatly appreciate it. We've got some pack openings coming up here in the next 30 days or so. And I've got an Ask Anything coming out really soon when we hit 10,000 subscribers, which should be in the next few days here. I look forward to seeing all of you guys out there at coming conventions or in the Seattle area. Take care. Until next time, this has been Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech.